Hey now, it's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM. I am here flying solo again. Next episode of the Enhancement Talent, my tag team partner in podcasting, one Eric Cornish, will return from his vacation. This is a more exciting return for me than even Randy Orton to the WWE this week. In fact, this week I feel like, if you factor in Fastlane, if you factor in Raw on Monday, which I do, on a side note, think was a good show and showed a lot of forward thinking for a show that needs a good bit of work here in the coming days, coming weeks for WrestleMania. I do think that Raw was many steps in the right direction. So here's what I want to talk about. In light of everything that happened on Sunday and on Monday, Fastlane and Raw, we've got a pretty good picture of what WrestleMania is going to look like this year, WrestleMania 31. So what I want to do is I want to take the two officially signed announced matches, and I want to talk about three unofficial matches that have not been officially announced or signed yet, but will probably be happening on the show. We'll start with those. There are three matches that are likely to happen. Like, for example, Cena and Rusev. This is all but signed. Cena challenged Rusev on Raw. Rusev declines, but I'm certain over the coming weeks, Rusev is going to be in the ring with John Cena. He will make that announcement that they will be fighting at WrestleMania. It may, in fact, be for the U.S. title. To me, it doesn't matter if it is or not, because this has been a very strong storyline, and whatever happens at WrestleMania, I will be totally cool with, and let me tell you why. First of all, if Rusev and Cena meet, number one, that will be a good thing. This will be a match I'm very excited for, especially at WrestleMania. I don't want to see Cena in the main event. I adore him outside of the main event. I don't appreciate him with the title, at least the world title. I appreciate him in story-driven angles where I don't know if he's going to win or lose. I appreciate him out of the main event. This is not to take away, this is not saying Cena was a bad champion. He wasn't. Cena was never a bad leader of the company, but Cena spent an awful lot of time in the last match on WWE pay-per-views. I don't like him there anymore. I am not a Cena hater. Please don't misinterpret me as one. I just don't want him in the main event, at least right now. And he's not. And he's feuding with Rusev, and this is doing a lot for me. This is working for me. I'm assuming they're going to fight. This is a match I'll be very excited for. Cena will probably go over in this case, and I'm okay with that, because what he did for Rusev at Fastlane, to me, at this point, do whatever, because you made Rusev look like $1 million. You made him believable. You made him viable. You made him bankable. You showed what he was capable of, and that, sir, earns you a free pass. Just outside of a squash match at WrestleMania, you're golden with me. That was a great job last Sunday by John Cena. I stressed it in the last episode. I'm stressing it again. So that's my first match, and that to me is a thumbs up. Another unofficial match. This one, a little less likely, but still probably going to happen. It looks like they're setting up for Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. This is another match I feel is a good move for the show. Doesn't look like there's any titles on the line. That's fine. And while I would like to see Seth Rollins in a bit more exposure, I almost wish that he was in the main event with Brock Lesnar, or hopefully he'll cash in. I'm never one of those conspiracy theorists when it comes to cashing in the Money in the Bank, but to me, if he cashes in the Money in the Bank after Reigns potentially beats Lesnar at WrestleMania, that will be an appropriate ending for me. I'll be totally okay with that. Time will tell. But let's just talk about the one that looks like is going to happen. It looks like they're really positioning for a feud with Randy Orton. I want to stress the word feud, because I hope it is more than just a build to WrestleMania. WrestleMania could really just be a bump in the road. These two could have a lot of good matches over 2015, if you want my opinion. They have personality types, character types, and in-ring abilities and a talent to me that's going to match up very, very well with each other. So I do think this could be a good opportunity for both of these guys to shine. For Randy to show why he's been perceived as one of the best guys over the past decade, and for Seth Rollins to show why he could be one of the top guys over the next decade. Undertaker and Bray Wyatt is all but signed. Bray made the challenge on Sunday. He reiterated it on Monday. We haven't heard anything out of Taker yet, so there is not an official match, but let's be real, this is probably going to happen. And that is also something I'm okay with. The one thing I don't like, I've expressed this before, and I will make this point again later on with Triple H. I kind of resent the guys who only show up for WrestleMania and then you don't see them for another year, another 11 months. That is a thorn in my side. I don't particularly like it. I feel like the Undertaker kind of earned that spot. People get excited to see him at WrestleMania more so than they would get to see him at Raw or something like that because of his winning streak and his long storied career. I'm also not an Undertaker hater. He's not one of my favorites, and in some matches I think of him are overrated. But him with Bray Wyatt would be very exciting for me for a few reasons. Number one, let's talk about their personalities. My goodness, it's like freak versus freak. This is fresh. This is new. This is something that could really, really benefit Bray Wyatt if this is done properly. Done properly doesn't necessarily mean that Bray has to win, but the match could really benefit him even in a loss if done properly. But what makes it even more exciting is if this was last year, I would say obviously I think Undertaker's going to win. They're protecting the streak. The streak is now over. The streak is now out the window, and this to me was the best thing that could have happened to The Undertaker because now I'm really interested. I don't know who's going to win. I want to see Brock win, but no matter what happens, I want and expect Brock to come out of The Undertaker match stronger. Expect to see that one signed over the next few weeks. Let's see here. We got 2 more matches to talk about, and these are the 2 officially announced matches. So these 2 will be happening, barring any unforeseen changes. The first match is Sting and Triple H. Like I just talked about with Undertaker, I really resent Triple H's only wrestling at WrestleMania because he's the guy, he has a lot of power behind the scenes. This is the guy who, not that he takes the days off as an in-ring worker. I know he stays in shape, and he's going to have a fine match with Sting at WrestleMania. At least I expect to. I guess it's not guaranteed, but it's likely to be a good match. I feel like he hands it to himself. I feel like he is having his cake and eating it too. And I feel like as a performer, he doesn't deserve to be there only at WrestleManias, where Taker kind of deserves it more. Triple H, he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania because he has that power to do so. I kind of resent that. And I think Triple H is a great worker, and I think he has great matches, but I think he should be around a bit more as a wrestler throughout the year, and it bothers me that we only see him wrestle at the big show when he's going to make that huge payday. I'd rather see a younger guy in there, not necessarily with Sting, but just taking up that WrestleMania timepiece, because every match, it gets booked down to the second at WrestleMania. They probably could be better used. Now, that being said, I'm not sure who I'd rather see Sting mix it up with. Triple H is an okay choice there, but again, just a little bit of resentment, a little sour taste in my mouth, but a match I'm very excited for, and it's being handled very well. From a storyline perspective, everything's been making sense, and everything's been working with me from a guy who doesn't care much for Sting in the first place. Not that I don't care much for him, I was just a WWF, a WWE guy more than I was WCW. I've respected Sting for what he's done, but I don't have all those little Stinger memories that a lot of people watching this video will do. I'm very excited for their match, though, on WrestleMania Sunday. And then the one last match that is signed, I'm not 100% convinced it won't get changed at some point, but Lesnar and Reigns for the world title is the main event of WrestleMania. I think this is not a great choice. I think Lesnar is a great champion. I don't think Reigns is going to be a great champion. I don't think Reigns is going to be a good contender. I don't like it. A lot of people don't like it. Reigns is a guy that, while his rise to fame a little over a year ago happened very organically and naturally, and the WWE fans embraced him at first. Now I feel like they're kind of forcing a square peg into a circle hole. And what the problem is with this is that when the universe starts to reject things like this, they'll start to hammer that peg into the hole even harder, even stronger, and that's annoying. They just want to prove that they were right to their audience. And I don't see Reigns as that bankable big future star that the writers seem to. I'm part of that Philadelphia group. I'm actually from Philadelphia. Didn't know that. I wasn't at the Royal Rumble last month, but I was certainly in agreement with what the fans were doing and saying about Roman Reigns. I don't think Reigns is bad. I just don't think Reigns is good. And I especially don't think he's great. And I hope that he's not the guy that they're banking their future on because there's a lot of holes in his basket, if you know what I'm saying. I hear now Lesnar may be signing another contract. I hear he walked out of Raw because of contract negotiations. That's not a good sign. But if they can get something worked out, I'd much rather see Lesnar in the WWE as champion or as not, what doesn't matter, than the UFC. I'm going to wrap this up now. I appreciate you watching my thoughts. I always welcome your feedbacks in the comments section. Please subscribe to the Enhancement Talent. We'll be back at full strength with Eric Cornish again next week. For the Rob, for myself, I'm signing off.